So a very warm welcome to Chris Jackson, Founding Director of Understanding Recruitment. How are you, Chris?
I'm very good, thank you, Gordon.
Good, good. Now we are talking about culture. So when I was asked to find a Recruitment Network member who was all over the culture piece, then right at the top of the list was Understanding Recruitment. I think you've got to build an amazing culture in your business. Can you talk through, you've been going 11 years now, I think?
Just over that, kind of coming up to 14 now.
So at what point did, once you and Dale had started out, what point did culture get on the radar in terms of something that you needed to manage and own and structure and shape? How did that sort of kick off in your early days?
I think in terms of culture, it's always been one of the key reasons we wanted to set up the business was to create a business of kind of fast growth, really high performance, but also do the job and do it well. So values were always there from the outset. That was obviously a lot easier to manage when we were a smaller business. Obviously, it becomes slightly more challenging as you kind of grow and you kind of diversify as a business and even kind of geographically as well. But certainly from our side, it's always been very much on the map on that side. And in terms of defining that, it was probably something we did actually with you kind of 2-3 years ago when we got a lot of the management team together and started to really look at identifying what are our key values as a business and mapping those out and giving them a bit more meaning than perhaps just purely talking about them in a rough culture prior to that.
Yeah. And that whole thing about when as you're scaling and you're starting to get the culture owned by different levels of management, was that something you were conscious about, the risk of dilution of the culture?
Yes and no. We've always interviewed and closely aligned, as I said, kind of our values as a business, but prior to that, it's kind of never really been identified what the key values were of the business. And, you know, so getting the management team bought into that was really important, especially as their roles grow and the business grow. So getting those identified was a key part. And obviously the managers now, you know, as we go through our growth and continue on that journey, it's just really important that they epitomise and share and the kind of values as their teams grow as well.
Yeah. And has the culture ever been challenged? I remember in the business I built, we did multiple acquisitions, and suddenly we realised our culture was diluted seriously, and we needed to work pretty hard to pull it all back together. Have there been periods where you think, oh, we need to put in even more effort at the moment to just get it back on track?
Nothing probably jumps out.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, we have never gone through any kind of acquisitions as a business. So it's always been very much organic growth.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's been a lot easier to control, and all our growth has been, you know, good, and we've been delighted with what we've achieved. It's never really been that we've been doubling in size year on year on year. So perhaps because of that, it's been easier to manage from that perspective. So we've always been, you know, felt that we've been in kind of control of that. I'm sure there's been periods where perhaps it has fluctuated in the past, but as I kind of 3 years ago, where we decided to actually really give our values some meaning and some meaning behind those values, that's been a lot easier now to kind of, I guess, play a key part in the DNA of the business, and kind of everyone now within that business and within our business knows very clearly what our key values are.
Yeah.
And that was, again, you know, we didn't want our values to be something that we wanted to be. It's actually something that we are. So we did a really good exercise across the whole business and asked the whole business, you know, what do they feel we stand for now? Not only what we want to stand for. So it's not something that we were always looking and chasing after. It's something that we stood for on that day, and what people felt were really important to them and to the business as well.
And being hard-nosed about it, Chris, I got someone accused me of being very fluffy because I do a lot of work around culture and reputation. What have been the tangible benefits of all that effort that you put into the culture and building the brilliant culture you've got?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I wouldn't say it's fluffy at all. I think
That's what I said. That's what I said. I'm not fluffy.
I think it becomes fluffy is when it means nothing. And we all know that a lot of organizations probably use values as a bit of a vanity exercise where there's no meaning behind it. And from our perspective, we wanted to actually give it meaning and actually, what do our values mean to the individuals in the business as well. But from our side, I think having a strong positive culture is really good for attracting talent. So people want to be part of a business and an organization that has a positive culture, that is a value-led culture as well. We've interviewed many really good billers that haven't actually aligned with our values, that we've rejected. And although they probably would have added some good productivity in terms of revenue, we just know in the long term it wouldn't have worked out, and actually it would have compromised our values. But I think it also adds really well to loyalty and to job satisfaction as well. And we all know a happy workforce is a more productive workforce. I think the last stat I read is a happy workforce in the sales environment is 37% more productive than an unhappy one, and that is massive.
Massive, yeah.
So for us, it was absolutely imperative. I don't think it's fluffy, but it's got to mean something to the business, and it's got to be something that you constantly talk about and you align. So every week we have an individual that wins kind of value of the week, if you like. So we have all our different 5 values are aligned every week. And we talk about it a lot so people do understand what it means to the business, but also to them personally as well.
Yeah, and I know from one of the great things about businesses like yours, where you really got a strong culture, you can feel it. So I've met most of your team, and every time you meet them, you think, yeah, you're an understanding recruitment person. You can feel it, and I'm sure there've been an individual case in the past where maybe for whatever reason one person wasn't quite fitting in, but you've got this team where everybody definitely fits in, which is, and you've underpinned it with the processes to make sure that some systematic approaches to protect it, which is brilliant. How has it played its part during lockdown and the remote working world?
Do you know what? It's a good question, because on one way, a really closely knit culture during the pandemic has been imperative to us and our success, and having that closely knit team has been really, really important. But on the flip side, it actually kind of almost worked against it, because everyone enjoyed working together and being in the office together. So it is a closely knit business. We work closely together. Yeah. So being apart from each other, although it's probably quite exciting for some of the people for the first couple of weeks, I actually missed that environment and that kind of collective environment with learning off each other, the managers coaching on a day-to-day basis, but also having that camaraderie and a bit of banter as well. So that was the kind of negative aspect, that if you are a closely knit team, suddenly working remotely can work against you.
Yeah.
On the flip side, it has been so important. I've always prided ourselves on being a business that listens. I actually think, during difficult and challenging times, it doesn't have to be unhappy times. In fact, I'd probably go the other way. It's probably galvanized us more as a business and brought us closer together, this whole experience. We've done a number of surveys throughout the last 5 months, understanding how everyone's feeling about it. We've always put over anything the welfare of our staff first. So overriding results or anything else, it's always come to be, how are you? Nothing else matters. It's just the importance of how people are coping. And as a culture, we've probably changed as a management team and as directors, in that we have been even more transparent than ever before. So where we share results, it's been a lot of top line, a bit of profitability. We have presented to the business month in, month out on how we're performing. We wanted, through these uncertain times where there are a lot of frightened people out there, and it was really unsettling. We actually wanted this work environment and understanding to be a safe haven for them, a safe place that they felt secure in their job. And we were sharing how well we were doing. We shared all the data with them. on our performance. So they also understood their individual impact on what difference they were making to our business.
Yeah, and so important for their well-being, I guess, just confidence and clarity and understanding, and yeah, fantastic. No, good. And what do you we're heading into, this is your second recession as a business owner, I think. So you'll have been hardened by the first time around by the Great Recession. I don't know what this one's going to be called, but what's are you looking to evolve? Are you purposely looking to evolve the culture during this slightly leaner period? I know actually things are going pretty well for you at the moment, but are you looking to evolve it and saying actually a different market, let's evolve and emerge as a different business?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a period of reflection, and I've personally, over the last 5 months, one is I've learned a huge amount about myself, about the business, and also about every individual in the business. And the way that everyone's risen to the challenge has been inspirational, and we're completely thankful for the efforts that everyone has gone through. We've completely revamped all our products, so we've gone through a whole kind of productization piece. We've looked at completely restructuring the way we do our business development. So there's been a lot of things that we've done as a business during the last 5 months that we will take forward that will make us stronger and better and fitter. I think our consultants are better at their jobs now. They've had to be. For those that haven't been through a recession, it's been quite an eye-opener to the fact that they're probably working 3 times as hard, yet their productivity at the end of it has been less than what it would have been this time last year. So it's been a re-education with some people within the business as well. But without doubt, as a business, as a culture, we come through this and we're stronger for it. So we've learned lots. I think everyone within the business has learned lots through this.
And how are you? What's your the link between? Because I know you're phenomenally passionate, obsessive about the client experience and the candidate experience. So the link between the culture you've built and your ability to deliver consistent excellence. How are those two sitting together?
Really well. Again, it comes down to clarity of what we're trying to do and what we're building as a business, and that kind of client or candidate experience has always been imperative to us as a business, and something that we do pride ourselves on. So, I think in terms of kind of working with our clients and our ratios at the moment, that they are ever improving. I think the quality of the business we're working on now, although obviously like any other business, we got hit by the pandemic, and numbers were massively down in terms of new business coming through. But the business we were working on was and are working on is much higher quality. So, I think a lot of people talk about in good times perhaps the quality dropping, people come a little bit lazy. I think that's a fair kind of assessment, and I think we've just got tighter and better, and the quality of our job becomes even higher. I think the important thing is, as the market, and hopefully we're certainly starting to see things picking up now, and we didn't furlough a huge amount of staff, and we made quite a positive, we took quite a positive approach to this. One, because we could. Secondly, because we had a good trust in all our staff that we could get through this and get through it well. But thirdly, is we wanted to be there ready for the rebound. Yeah. And we are starting to see that now. The important thing for us is that we maintain those standards as the market does improve.
How will you, and those new tighter, leaner standards, how will you retain those once the market comes back and the economy is in a better place and we're all feeling a bit more relaxed about things?
Yeah, I mean, it probably twofold. One is just a continuation of training. I think that's really important, that we're constantly evolving our training. But secondly, we are a pretty data-driven organisation, so it's very clear to see in terms of our ratios across the board on how well we're managing those.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So how are you feeling about rest of the year?
Do you know what? Actually, very positive. saying earlier, we kind of had a record week last week in terms of new jobs coming through, which is always positive. We feel we probably had, I would say, almost 80% of our clients within the UK went on hold. I would say out of those 80% of those that went on hold are back recruiting again now. We're not back quite to pre-COVID business levels, but without doubt the momentum is building. So I do feel really positive, actually. I do. I think we'll have a strong finish to the year. And as a team, you know, we're fortunate enough that we've actually grown in numbers in terms of our staffing levels throughout the whole pandemic. So again, I think we're in a pretty good place. Obviously, there is a huge amount of uncertainty in terms of the pandemic and how that's going to ride out. But, you know, we're playing our part in terms of keeping positive frame of mind. And yeah, I do feel optimistic about it.
Yeah, no, well, thank you, Chris. And thank you for your time. It's so good, again, to see somebody who's put so much effort into building a really special culture, and actually you've had the dividends during lockdown, during remote working, and it'll just mean you'll spring back even faster. So very exciting. I'm a big fan of your business, what you built, what you and Dale have built, and looking forward to a very positive rest of the year for you guys.
Thanks very much indeed, Gordon. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us.
Cheers.